Right now on Midday, we are dedicating the entire show to Las Vegas Metro Police Officer Charleston Hartfield. He was off duty at the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival when he was killed, along with 57 other people.
And you are watching right there in the top right part of your screen. A very emotional moment happened as Officer Hartfield's body passed by Mandalay Bay there. We saw people also lining the strip today to pay their respects.
And the live picture there from Central Christian Church in Henderson as well, and that's where the funeral is being held and is expected to begin shortly. Now we're going to carry the funeral for the duration of Midday here. We are also streaming the funeral online for you at ktnv.com and also on our Facebook page.
Right, now just a couple of moments ago, we have some video right now when Officer Hartfield's body was brought into the church there in Henderson. There we see, among others, the Sheriff Joe Lombardo and other officers from Metro there waiting for Officer Hartfield's body to arrive. It did arrive there in the church at the Christian Church, the Central Christian Church in Henderson, that is his hometown. We also saw that Officer Hartfield's family is there, his wife and his two children that he leaves behind.
Yeah, I even saw the little girls there waving flags as the body passed by. This was the salute. You can see the sheriff there waiting for the body to arrive, and then there it is. Let's just watch this for a moment. You can see they kind of turn the casket there, and you'll see his family follow behind.
Well, it is certainly a very solemn day here as we say goodbye to a hero not only of this city but also of this country. Of course, he served he was a veteran who served, decorated as 16-year U.S. Army combat veteran. He served in Iraq and, of course, came here at home, also served in the Nevada Army National Guard. And as we mentioned before, by all accounts, a wonderful man who led a dignified life. There we see so many of his fellow brothers and sisters there in Metro awaiting the funeral services that should begin here at any moment. Yeah,
we're looking at Central Christian Church there, and you can see them waiting, as you said. Gosh, puts a little bit of a lump in your throat to see all the people and all the emotion. We saw his wife walk in there following the casket, and you know, we're learning more details about what actually happened, and I think we're going to hear from people today. We're going to hear more about him as a person. We have heard a lot, but we're going to hear stories, we're going to hear memories, we're going to hear maybe a little bit about what happened that night. Apparently his wife was with him at the Country Music Festival, and Metro saying on their website that Officer Hartfield actually helped rescue people that night as well, even though he was off duty, just as any officer would jump in, and even human would do. Well, many humans did do that night to help others.
Yeah, you hear the descriptions of people who served as fellow officers. They said Charlie, as they called him, you know, loved this country, loved this city. He's the most patriotic person I've ever met. But they say that he was also most proud of being a husband and a father to his two children. We saw there in that video, a young man and a girl. His wife Veronica as well there, his son Isaiah. He's also been told by others who knew him that he led a life full of honor, dignity, and a great capacity for others. I believe they also referred to him as being essentially a super cop, and he was beloved on Metro.
Yeah, you think of him as a father, you think of him as an officer, and then of course a veteran as well, serving in the military, and then still having time to devote time to the community. He was a local football coach and a director there as well. So, I mean, taking so much time, any of his free time that he did have, to help others and mentor children around the valley as well, and be a coach to so many others.
Yeah, we learned today too that he was a 16-year Army veteran, and then he served with Metro for the past 11 years. This was a man who dedicated his life to serving others. In fact, he published a memoir called Memoirs of a Public Servant.
Yeah.
So this was a man who very much dedicated his life to serving so many others, and that is why you see him being laid to rest in full honor today.
Yeah, you can see right here. Obviously, we always hear the bagpipes and the drums. Moving moment here that followed the casket into the Central Christian Church. The memorial should begin shortly, and then from here, the casket will actually proceed down to Boulder City to the burial there at a Veterans Memorial Cemetery there. So a long day for the family, a day hopefully for honor and some closure possibly. And it's a nice day here in Las Vegas too.
Yeah. Before we sort of move on, we have the opportunity right now to talk about the Injured Police Officer Fund. The family and also Metro, they have set up an account there for the family of Officer Charleston Hartfield. It is through, there it is, you see it, it is through Wells Fargo Bank. It is under the Fallen Hero. There is the account number, 3089445211, something to keep in mind today as we say goodbye to a hero.
And we remember back, I mean, gosh, the outpouring of support when they had that memorial for him about, gosh, was it a week and a half ago?
Yes.
We were saying, can't believe it's been almost 3 weeks since the shooting. But thousands of people turned up for that. What a night that was. I mean, you can see how loved he was, and even just by strangers when you hear about his character and you hear his story.
Yeah, this was at the Police Memorial Park there in northwest part of Las Vegas, and we saw there his wife, his son, his daughter. They were all on hand there as they mourned together, and they grieved the loss of life. This man who was beloved, and this man who this city is going to miss very much by all accounts.
Yeah, you can see some of the Army National Guard there as well, police officers and people in tears. It has definitely been an emotional almost 3 weeks for so many people, and it's moments like this that are sad but also touch the hearts of so many people in our community. This was a big moment.
It was a big moment, and I was really especially touched by the number of people, just even tourists who we saw there, who lined parts of the strip and just paid their respects and just quietly watched as Officer Hartfield's body passed through downtown right there through the strip. And we also saw, there was a quick shot of 2 young girls with American flags just waving there in respect for Officer Hartfield as his body was brought to the church.
Yeah, a little shaky here, but you can see this is the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, where right now those crosses are still lined, the 58 crosses there, and the basically makeshift memorial, I should say, for all the victims of the shooting. And Officer Hartfield's cross is there too, and a lot of special things were left at that this morning, and a lot of people attending that memorial this morning as well and throughout the day to pay their respects to him and so many of the others that lost their lives.
We also saw Officer Hartfield's brother stop by that memorial and write a message there on the cross, specifically dedicated to his 34-year-old brother.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that definitely affects, obviously affects our community, but like you said, affects people that are visiting as well. Anyone that's visiting on the Las Vegas Strip right now on vacation has heard about what happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, they take a moment to be able to get out there and pay their respects along the Strip. It's not often or not every time when an officer is killed, whether in the line of duty or off duty, that motorcade makes its way down the Las Vegas Strip, such an iconic and special place to our entire state. So quite a moment today as it passed by the memorial and the Mandalay Bay, the Route 91 Harvest Festival site, and of course the rest of the hotels and basically what keeps our economy and our state alive.
Yeah, you think about that that day, that night of that shooting, and we hear so many stories of strangers helping others and putting their own lives on the line in order to help people. And Officer Hartfield, as we understand it, did exactly that. And people who knew him best say, of course, that's what he did, because that's what he was all about. He lived a life of service. He lived a life of sacrifice. His whole purpose was to help others. And that's apparently exactly how he lived. That's also how he died.
Right. And he did serve our community, throughout much of his life, which I look forward to hearing what people have to say about him today, for sure. I mean, we fortunately, the number of people that were hurt and the number of people that died so high that we've learned bits and pieces about so many people that have warmed our hearts, and we haven't really been able to listen to the long stories. And so I look forward to the service today to be able to listen to some of his friends, co-workers, comrades, really, that have worked with him through the years.
Yeah, services are expected to last, we anticipate, about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Then from there, Officer Hartfield will be laid to rest in Boulder City, I believe, at around 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, very punctual, on schedule. This is was supposed to start at 11, a little late, but as far as the procession, they were prepared. And gosh, you think about everything that it takes even just to put into this in the midst of everything going on, an investigation, all these officers, and investigators working overtime, and then here today in the masses and in their vehicles, the fire department, the community ambulance, the National Guard, and then of course we see, obviously family and just regular community members that have come out this morning for this.
Very stirring to see this and to see this sort of outpouring of support among fellow officers, but also fellow emergency responders. This is how they rally. This is how they say goodbye to their own. And you see there, even as that motorcade passes, complete strangers just paying their respects as well. We saw that video of those two young girls waving the American flags. It is a somber day for our city, but it's a day to say goodbye to a hero. It is a day to honor a wonderful man.
Yeah, looks like they're getting ready to start the services, just checking the microphone, making sure everything works. So it looks like everyone's taking a seat. They have been standing, and they're getting ready to begin the memorial. You think about these officers and the people that serve our country, our state, our local communities, and they know, every day they go to work and they don't know what they're going to get themselves into. Here was a man who was out enjoying some time off with his wife, and who would have ever thought? But he was needed, and I think we're going to hear a little bit about that probably over the next 2 hours.
Yeah. You think about that situation, and you think about, we say that he was officially, quote, off duty, right? But truth be told, really, the brave men and women, first responders, they're never really truly off duty.
Exactly.
And that was an example of that almost 3 weeks ago now, when we hear that Officer Hartfield did exactly that. He went to save strangers because was never truly off duty.
Right. No, it's so true. And we did learn that his wife was with him at the time at the music festival. So he does have 2 children, and you can see them walking in right at the front of the church right now as we look at this live picture.
Yeah, that is his wife Veronica, his son Isaiah, and his daughter Savannah. He also leaves behind his mom, an aunt, and his sisters, as well as a brother. So left a lot, today for them especially, the family, this is the most difficult of days.
Yeah, and you can see them all walking in here, sitting obviously up toward the front, in the front rows. It's a big church. A lot of officer funerals take place here because it's large and it's able to fit so many people, and obviously it's a good area as far as getting access to everything. But again, looking to the left, just some video here that we took earlier, our crews there on the ground of the casket being taken into the church, and off to the right, a live picture as we wait for the memorial to begin.
We should also mention that we had some of the marquees there along the strip. They had this message saying that we stand strong with Officer Charleston Hartfield. They are going to be on those marquees there, I think, throughout the day.
Yeah, I mean, the strip has really rallied around all the victims and done what they can to show strength. Looks like they just kind of listed off some rules, wanted folks to just turn their cell phones off and make sure that everything is respectful and quiet. Looks like the officers there with Metro Police are standing. I think we're going to go right now and take this. The memorial is about to begin. Again, this is the memorial for Officer Charleston Hartfield at Central Christian Church in Henderson.
We're going to carry this event on television here up until about the noon hour. Then after that, we're going to, our coverage is going to move to Facebook and our website at ktnv.com.
"3,000 mourners attending the memorial here at Central Christian Church as we wait for it to begin. Gosh, we knew there would be a big turnout. There's police officers, there's National Guard, there's friends, there's family there, and 3,000 people there. In excess of, we're hearing actually more than 3,000 people as we get in some statistics. We have crews there, obviously inside. Joe Bartels is inside, and he'll be having complete coverage later on.
Yeah, and I don't know if we could just go back to that previous shot real quick, but you saw there, that was the Officer Hartfield's badge number. His end of watch officially was Sunday, October 1st, 2017, and now the bagpipers enter the church there in Henderson.
And you are watching the beginning of the memorial for Police Officer Charleston Hartfield. Just to give you a little background, he started with Metro in January of 2006, worked in a patrol division until about 2015. He was transferred to project management and then the Video Bureau as well. He was also a decorated 16-year U.S. Army combat veteran. At the time of his passing, he was actually assigned as first sergeant with the Nevada Army National Guard. So he has done a lot in his lifetime, a lot for our community and a lot for his family, and also, gosh, so many people, obviously, that live here in southern Nevada.
Yeah, people who knew him called him Charles or Chucky. He coached youth football there in Henderson, the Henderson Cowboys. This was a man who was beloved and who lived an amazing life of service and sacrifice for not only us here in Clark County, but also for the nation, as he served admirably in the military for 16 years, in Iraq, veteran, combat veteran, and a man of great true honor. And today we honor his life and the legacy of Officer Charleston Hartfield.
He was one of many victims, obviously killed at the Route 91 Harvest Festival on October 1st, and he was there off duty, enjoying some time with his wife and enjoying the country music concert. We're hearing that he helped rescue citizens during the shooting. His wife did survive. She's there at the memorial, and he did not make it. And so he is also survived by his wife, as I mentioned, and 2 children as well. And as we saw earlier, his mother, his aunts. Got everyone there in the front row.
His brother as well.
Yeah, his brother.
You have to imagine this time of grief, they take comfort in not only themselves, but also in this moment as they say goodbye. They have a chance to also reflect and to think about the way he lived his life and to celebrate that as well in so many respects.
Yeah. I think at moments like this, we're going to hear some sad things, and we're going to also hear about what a great impact he had on the community, and hopefully maybe even have some laughs and people tell stories about this is what this person did to brighten my life. And so I think we'll hear all that over the next 2.5 hours as the scheduled to take the casket and the body there down to Boulder City at about 1 o'clock.
Please be seated.
Who was there from the beginning, set the land upon the sea, shine a light into the darkness, created every living thing, who connect the soul together into a perfect masterpiece. Breathe a breath inside my lungs and give my heart a steady beat. Who commands the sun by morning, paints the colors in the sky, brings the moon out in the evening to accompany the night. Who will walk me through the valley like a shadow by my side? In times of trouble be my refuge and drive the darkness out with light. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Welcome to Central Church. We want to invite you to stand right now as we sing this together. Who's the architect and artist, from whom the galaxies take shape, holds the universe together and knows every star by name. Who's superior in wonder, yet identifies my pain. On the clouds will roar with thunder and bring forgiveness like the rain. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Who would leave his throne in heaven and step down to the earth, choose an ordinary woman, and to the Son of God give birth? Who would take a sinner's cross, climb a hill and die for me, and grave my name into his hands? Only Jesus Christ, my King. Whoa.
All right, it's 11:30, and we're back here with you folks, just rolling some video there of the procession from earlier, just trying to clean up the shot a little. This is a team effort, all the media in on this one, as we try and bring you the memorial live, and sometimes just have a little technical difficulty there.
Yeah, it's just breaking up there a little bit, so we're going to try and see if we can sort of get a better connection to have a more consistent shot from video and audio purposes. But again, we're monitoring the funeral services for Metro Police Officer Charleston Hartfield, killed on Sunday, October 1st, 2017. That's his end of watch. He was, of course, there at the concert that awful night with his wife when the shots were fired. There you see that, I believe, is his son Isaiah in the crowd here. This was a memorial that was held about a week and a half ago for the 34-year-old officer who served not only our city but also our country, a 16-year veteran as well.
Yeah, in the National Guard Army, and you can see all those folks there as well. I mean, that's why so many people came out. Obviously, just the community in general, but so many people that worked with him and worked in the same job with him as far as police and also the Army as well. Yeah. Showing you some pictures now of the marquees. They all changed over just for this, and you can see "We Stand Strong" for Officer Charleston Hartfield. What an honor. The Strip has really come together and supported all the victims and really, you know, taken a chance to dim the lights, do things at the moment 1 week later, and then change all the marquees as well. They've been on board and are really showing their strength for what happened.
And you're looking at some of the video right now as the procession there led its way to the church, the Central Christian Church there in Henderson. And you saw those two young girls there waving American flags. We saw that throughout the procession route today, just sometimes in many cases strangers along the Strip just stopping and paying their respects as that motorcade passed by.
You can see the sheriff here at Central Christian Church as well. A salute there, Sheriff Lombardo, and then the body being taken inside the church, and then you'll see his family follow behind. And when I say family, his wife, son, and daughter will follow the casket into the church here.
Yeah, his son Isaiah and his daughter Savannah and his wife as well. Just a difficult day. His wife Veronica, there we see her. This was just about maybe a half hour or so ago as Officer Hartfield's body was brought into the church.
We heard some music there a little bit earlier. They've started off the memorial with a song, an inspirational song there, and bagpipes led the body in the casket there into the memorial service before that song began.
Yeah, we're taking a look right now. This is the account that the family has set up for Officer Charleston Hartfield, the fallen hero account. We do have our technical issues, I think, squared away, so let's listen back in here.
Or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. And today we take great hope in that promise. Charleston wanted this gathering to be a celebration. A lot easier said than done. But that was his desire. And the hope of heaven and the hope of eternal life and the hope that we would celebrate all that he was as a person and all that he accomplished rather than focusing on all that was lost is a hope that he had deep in his heart for this moment of tribute. And so we will celebrate his life. He was born May 6, 1983 in Bellflower, California to Cheryl and Carl Hartfield Sr. He was taken abruptly from us on October 1st, 2017. He was, at an early age, anxious to learn. He was a good student. He gave his life to the Lord as a young man. He was baptized by his grandmother, Wilma. He was raised by his grandmother, Wilma, and his aunt, Tricia, in his early years, and then later by his honorary parents, Jeannie and John Murray, who nurtured him from a young teenager into manhood. He joined the U.S. Army when he turned 17 years old after serving in the JROTC for 4 years. He was married to Veronica in March 2002. They have 2 beautiful kids, Isaiah and Savannah. Altogether, he had a 17-year military career with the United States Army under the 82nd Airborne and then with the Nevada National Guard. He then served his community for 11 years in Las Vegas as a Metro police officer. He was also a coach with the Henderson Cowboys. He was assistant director and a coach. He became a team dad when Savannah danced her heart out with the B-Sharp dance crew. He loved to watch Isaiah play. He was a family man dedicated to his family. Charleston survived by his wife Veronica, his son Isaiah, his daughter Savannah, his mother Cheryl, his aunt Tricia, his sisters Mia, Danita, Veranda, his brother Carl Jr., and a host of nieces and nephews, cousins, and other relatives that all adore him. About a year ago, he created a file on his computer. The file was titled Charleston Hartfield's Memorial Service. After his passing, Veronica was going through his computer and she found this file. She let me read it and she gave me permission to share some of Charleston's wishes with you. This is what Charleston wrote about what he wanted today to be. He begins by saying to Veronica, if you're reading this, then I have been called home. Nothing I type will make this any easier, so I'll just get to the facts. Music. Johnny Cash, still coming. Nina Simone. Attire. My largest request is please do not allow anyone to wear black. Sorry, Charleston. Not everybody got the memo. He says, black is totally depressing and I don't want anyone expressing their sorrow over my passing. I would like for everyone to enjoy themselves and remember me for who I was. The truth only. None of that stuff about how great I was. Only real stories. And we're going to hear some of those real stories here in just a few moments. To Veronica, he says, finish your Mustang. And please paint that thing as shiny as you can, pearl or candy coat that sucker twice. He says, the only way I'd like to be placed in the ground is if it's in a veterans area. That way myself and all the crusty old vets can hold formations and continue to protect and serve our great country once more. Charleston was a patriot through and through. He loved his family. He walked with his God. He loved his kids. He loved his community. To Veronica, he writes these words. I love you more than you will ever know. You saved my life when I was a young man. Everything in my life that I've accomplished is because of you, your strength, and your everlasting push. I have been called home. Now enjoy your life and move forward. It's easier said than done on a day like today. I think the question many wrestle with on a day like today is just the question of why. Why was Charleston taken from us along with so many others, with family and friends that love him, with so much support and so much to live for? Certainly I'd be the first to confess that I don't know all the answers to why. But I want to share with you some things that I hold on to from Scripture. Some things that are supporting the family in these difficult days. The Bible says that God is faithful, that He will not give you more than you can bear, that He will provide a way to stand. It says, they that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will walk and not grow faint. They will run and not grow weary. It says, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and He rescues those who are crushed in spirit. Weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Jesus invites you, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and humble of heart. And you will find rest for your souls. Jesus says, do not be afraid. I am the first and the last. I am the living one. I was dead, and behold, I am alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys of death. Today we're faced not only with the reality of death and loss, but we're also faced with the reality of God's love. The Bible says God's love is not as our love. We say, I love you if, and I love you when. God says, I love you anyway, and I love you in spite of. John 3:16, God so loved the world, he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And so today, we face not only God's love, but the hope of everlasting life. It was Jesus who said, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live, even though he dies. And whoever lives and believes in me will never die. And so we take comfort in that today. We know that this is not the end. The Bible tells a story of the followers of Christ who were out on the sea, and the storms came and the waves began to crash, and everything was sort of out of control. And when they looked around to figure out where Jesus was, he was asleep down below. And so they go down and they wake him up. And when they wake him up, they ask him this question. They say, Lord, do you not care if we die? I think in many ways it's the question for a day like today. God, do you not care that we go through loss? Do you not care that we die? Do you not care that we suffer? Jesus' response was to get up, and he walked to the edge of the boat, and he looked out at this storm, and he simply said, peace, be still. The storm passed, and he looked at his disciples, and he said, where is your faith? Where is your faith? And so today, as much as we try to celebrate, I know there are storms still raging in the hearts of Charleston's family, friends, those who love him. My hope and prayer for you is that you'll just allow God to walk out into your heart today and speak those words. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Let's bow and pray together. God, we thank you for your love for us. We thank you for all that you have done for us. And God, we come together now. Even though we face the reality of death, we hang on to the hope of your love and the hope of everlasting life. We pray that even in these next moments, we can honor Charleston, and that ultimately we can bring one another hope and find the strength to stand together and to continue to move forward. God, we give you thanks and praise in Christ's name. Amen. I want to introduce to you now Pastor Mike Ellingson. He's one of our pastors here at Central Church, and Mike's going to MC over the next few minutes as we hear from several people who knew Charleston and who loved him.
Thank you. Judd is way too humble to introduce himself, so I'm going to do that for you, Judd. That is our senior pastor here at Central Church, Judd Wilhite. So thank you, Judd, for sharing. You know, one of the best ways that we can get just a better perspective of who Charleston is and was and continues to impact our life is to just share some of the stories, as Judd mentioned, to share some of those stories from the people that were nearest and dearest to his heart. And so we're going to invite a few people. The family has identified some friends and family and just some of his colleagues and fellow officers to come forward and share in just a few minutes here. But I want to take a minute to share something extra special. I've really had the privilege and the honor over these last couple of weeks to spend time with Charleston's wife, Veronica, and the family. And it was in her heart to come up here and share here today. And I said, well, Veronica, if you just feel like you can't do that at the time, I said, I would be more than honored to share anything on your behalf. And so Veronica has put this letter together that she would like to share with all of you folks here today that just gives a brief, little summary of her life with Charleston. I'd like to share that with you at this time. She starts out and she says, October 22nd, 1997 is when our love story began. We were young freshmen, high school students who thought we knew it all. We spent 20 years together. We watched each other grow from mindless teens into determined, hardworking adults. We drive each other crazy on a daily basis with our silly antics. This man is my Superman. He gave the children and I an amazing life. I've never imagined a life without him in it. To him, I will always be grateful. To our children, please know and remember that your father loved you. He'd do anything for you. You both were his pride and joy. Know that he has been and will always be around, supporting and cheering you on. I chose a few quotes from one of Chucky's many favorite authors, Dr. Seuss. She quotes, she says, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." She says, if he were here now, he'd ask us, why are we all sitting here with tears in our eyes? She also quotes and says, sometimes you'll never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. This is truer than true, she says. I will cherish every moment and every memory I had with you. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. You are my world, Chucky Hart. Chucky, I loved you 20 years ago and I still do. You are my always and forever. This isn't a goodbye, this is my I'll see you again. So Veronica, thank you for sharing those words with us. And so we want to begin by hearing from some of Charleston's closest friends and colleagues and family members. And so I would like to begin just by inviting Chris Stockton. This is one of Charleston's cousins, to come forward at this time and share. Come on over here.
Hello, everybody. Wow, that's intimidating. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Stockton. My whole family calls me Chip or Little Chip. Charleston's wife, Veronica, that's my cousin. I met Charleston when we were both young teenagers. I'm a little older than him. And right off the get-go, we clicked immediately. Our friendship has great depth, mutual respect, and many, many stories. Charleston was the funniest dude I've ever met, and I was no match for his witty banter. Just recently, I celebrated my 10-year wedding anniversary. My wife and I came down to Vegas to celebrate, and Charleston, he could put two words together to make one word and just totally put you down. So I gave him a big hug, and he's like, damn, cuz, you got a lot of fussle on you. I'm like, fussle? What the hell is fussle? Sorry, I didn't mean to say hell. Sorry. What the heck is fussle? And so he's like, fat and muscle. All right, I see where we're going at. All right. Yeah. He's nuts. Let's see what else I got right now here. No cuss words. It's a good thing. Let's see. Yeah. Our rivalry was deeply embedded in everything that we did. I'm a United States Marine, an amphibious warrior, and he decided to jump out of airplanes. Like, why? Who knows? Let's see. He once told me that, because I would give him a little grief. I was a Marine at the time when he joined the Army. And I said, hey, why don't you join the Marine Corps, be a man, right? And he said he tried, but, he went down to the recruiter's office, but he failed the test. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Charleston? You're the smartest man I know. What test are you talking about? I didn't take a test. He's like, well, I couldn't fit my head in a jar, so I joined the Army. Once again, Chipper 0, Charleston 2. If anybody's keeping count. Dude's nuts. I'm a type of guy that throws punches first, asks questions later, and but he was the type of guy that checked the situation out, be the diplomat. I like rock music. I'm certainly not a Johnny Cash fan, and he certainly didn't listen to Five Finger Death Punch. Let's see. But our friendship was based on a deeper similarities. We were both unequivocal American patriots, although I've never worn American flag boots, ever. But our generosity is bigger than we are. We worship our God, love and adore our wives and family, and loyal to our core, and of course our differently but equally chiseled good looks. I don't know who wrote that. Weird. Anyways, when my beautiful cousin asked me to speak here, I became completely speechless. Imagine that. A million stories came to mind, superhero stories, friendship stories, family stories, like when he was the only one who could have stopped me from causing a ruckus at our other uncle's funeral a few years back. I mean, he just said, no, that's not going to happen. I was okay. I have been at a loss of what to say, what Charleston would want me to say. And then I felt his presence and I got a sign, and this is no kidding. I got this sign, and you guys, it's hilarious. So up in Northern California where I'm from, there's a lot of fires and everything going on. And I'm thinking, I'm driving home from work and I'm saying, Charleston, you want me to go this way towards the speech? Give me a sign, please. And then I looked up in the heavens, and the way the smoke was, and there was like a cloud that looked like a dove. And I was like, a dove? Maybe that's a sign. I was like, wait a minute, he ain't no dove. What the heck? So I threw that off, and then I get to the stop sign, I hang a left, and I'm right behind another vehicle. And sure enough, on that bumper sticker was 82nd Airborne, even Marines need heroes. That's my sign. That was my sign right there. So, it was, so I figured he wanted me to talk to his kids, Savannah, beautiful. Isaiah, man, you're awesome, brother. I was young too, like you two, when my dad passed away. Uncle John, my Uncle John, he was your grandfather, gave me some valuable words of wisdom when I asked him, what do I do now? He replied simply, pick up your flag and drive forward. Like you, I was young. I had no idea what that meant. I didn't understand. You see, kids, each family is different. Each family flag is even different, adorned with symbols and images of what your family represents. A father passes that flag to his children when he moves on. My flag was handed to me with images of John Wayne, empty beer cans, rattlesnakes boots, and big rigs. If you guys knew my dad, you'd be like, hillbilly? Since I took ownership of that flag, I've adorned it with the Marine Corps emblem, the Eagle Globe and Anchor, high voltage line work utility poles, scuba gear, etc. You see, kids, the flag is a metaphor, basically for your family name. Carry that flag with honor, take it with you wherever you go, and add to the images that your father already placed upon it. Images like the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department shield, Army camouflage, a coach's whistle, and a huge lion, with a big mane, protecting his pride. His heart is with both of you and your mother eternally, imprinted right on it. Take that flag and drive it deeply into the ground wherever you go, showing others where you come from. Carry that flag forward and adorn it with things of your own, like own lives that your dad would be so proud to know of you. I can't read, obviously. I lost where I'm going here. Man. Your father was an educated man and a reader. He and I both loved to read about old warriors of our nation. One of the warriors was Tecumseh, a warrior from the Shawnee tribe of Native Americans. Tecumseh shared these words of wisdom that I believe represented Charleston's life perfectly and would want both of his children to also live by. Ready, guys? So live your life that the fear of death can never enter your heart. Trouble no one about their religion. Respect others and their views and demand they respect yours. Perfect your life. Beautify all things in your life. Seek to make your life long. And its purpose in the service of your people. Show respect to all people and grovel to none. Give a word or a sign of salute when meeting or passing a friend, even a stranger, when in a lonely place. And just because, Charleston, I get the final word on this one, I leave you with the Marine Corps salute. Never above you, never below you, always beside you. Fair winds and following seas.
All right, we are watching live coverage here at the funeral services for Officer Charleston Hartfield. We're going to transition here a little bit from our coverage on TV to our coverage online in just about 2 minutes. So if you want to continue to follow the services today, you could do so on our Facebook page.
That's right. We'll be having that on in its entirety, and we will, of course, have coverage as well when they move Officer Hartfield's body down to his burial in Boulder City, a veteran cemetery. Interesting, because they talked about that note that he left, and he said he wanted to be buried next to his other soldiers, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so they could continue to stand guard, and it's just one of those facts that we just learned there that he wrote exactly how he wanted his memorial service to go. His wife discovering that on his computer, saying that he wanted music. He wanted Johnny Cash and Nina Simone.
Love that. Which they said is going to come up here shortly during the memorial.
And he also, wrote a note to his wife Veronica, who he said, "I love you more than you'll ever know. I have been called home. Now go enjoy your life and move forward." A very, very touching moment to hear that.
Yeah, apparently when she was looking through his computer, she found this file, and something you never want to find, never want to read. I think he knew he was in a job that, every day that he left for work, that something could happen possibly, or and obviously he was in the Army, he was served in Iraq, so he was prepared to take care of his family and let his family know how he felt. And today they're reading some of those words at the memorial, and they said they're going to be reading them throughout the memorial service here that just got started about 30 minutes ago.
Joined the Army as he was 17 years old, just a young man. So from the very beginning, he was a man dedicated to serving this country and to serving others. A humorous moment with his cousin there, saying that he had these sort of one-liners, these one-liner digs that he would often combine two words, and so he always said, when he greeted him, he said, "Oh, you got a whole lot of fussle," and he said, "Well, what is that?" He said, "Fat and muscle."
Yeah.
So that was apparently one of the signature calling cards for Officer Hartfield, for people who knew him and who loved him.
And we had said earlier, we thought we'd hear some laughs today, which is always a little bit uplifting. And he had said, "I want this to be uplifting. This isn't going to be a somber occasion. Don't let people wear black." And then they apologize. "Well, sorry, we didn't all get the message."
Yeah.
But anyway.
He said he wanted a celebration, and he wanted people to, like you said, not wear black. It was too somber.
Yeah.
But he didn't get everything he wanted, but he certainly got a celebration.
All right, please continue to watch the services on our Facebook and ktnv.com.